Yes and no. Let's be fair and kind to the team that's playing with a whole lot of confidence and making things happen, and they're full of energy too. So I'm not going to put it only down to us. I think they're a team that's playing with confidence. They're playing with a spring in their step. They're playing with some luck because they're making the luck and the bounce of the ball go their way. So no, I'm not gonna put it all on us. That'll be selfish and wrong. What we're not doing is handling some of our actions well enough and contributing to them having some good luck and some good bounces and some good tries and some outstanding pieces of play. So we're certainly not helping ourselves, but at the same time, I'm not going to discredit or discount the skill levels and the confidence that Warrington are playing with at the moment. I think they've been very good.
I appreciate that. Well, you look at a couple of the kicks early on, that must frustrate you, especially when in football.
Absolutely, yeah, they're frustrating, and we need to deal with that better. We need to deal with that better. We need to execute better to start with, but when they do happen, we need to front up to it. We need to be able to cope with that. We need to be able to, handle when things do go wrong. Whether there's a six again or 7 tackles from a kick that's too deep, or into the in goal. We need to be able to cope with that. We need to toughen up. Keep saying it. We need to be able to. It happens to other teams. They cope with it. We've got to learn to cope with it ourselves. I thought we were better at that in the second half. I think we had more determination about each of our actions and collectively in the second half, but in the first half, not good enough.
Second half, overall thoughts, obviously, scoreline's much more pleasing than 6-all. It must be pleasing to not get everything what happened against Salford at least.
Yeah, or the first half, as a secondly, but absolutely, yeah. We had to do something about that. You either go into your shell or go into denial, or you go and do something about it when it's a bit tough. And I think that showed some character. I'm not saying we've got all that right and it's all rosy now by any means, and we're going to accept our performance overall in 80 minutes is acceptable, but there's a couple of ways we could have responded there in that 80 minutes, and I'm pleased to say that our response in the second 40 was a whole lot better.
How's 6, sorry?
Not sure yet. It's a hamstring injury with the pain that he looked like he was in. I doubt that it's going to be okay for next week. But I haven't spoken to the physios, so I don't know how severe that's going to be.
Should the West happen, will Jamie Shaw be available to play? So I know he was left out the reserves today.
It was too soon for Jamie to play reserves this week, so it'll either be him or Davey Litton, I'd suggest, one or the other. We'll see where Jamie's at, but we had a good win in reserve grade today, and that's a positive for us. There'll certainly be some boys from that reserve grade game that will feature for us next week. There's no doubt about that. So there will be some changes to our team for next week's game.
Obviously they've had 3 really good wins now. We'll just talk about that for the rest of the day. 3 really big wins. No, it's good that we've got some young people coming through and we've got some depth. We need some of our boys who are going to put pressure on some of our players today, coming back from injury and need some game time to get up to match speed and first grade speed. So today would have been good for them. I haven't watched the game, I'll watch that tonight. But there'll certainly be, as I said, a couple of changes to our team that featured there today. We've got to get a team out there that can handle the game from the start and not have to respond once the game gets going. So we've got to lay down our marker a bit more earlier in games.
Tony, besides Brad Dwyer's try in the second half, what other positives can you take from the game?
Yeah, a whole lot, whole lot. You know, I thought our contact was a whole lot better in the second half. I thought we competed in the ruck a whole lot better. We didn't in the first half. We bounced out of tackles. We weren't strong and we weren't, able to soak up pressure in the first half. In the second half, we did. We coped with that. We scrambled. I'll even say a few times in the first half when they made some breaks, I loved some of our scramble. We've got people chasing back and making it really difficult. They had to do some really great pieces of skill to score some of their tries. A few of them were a bit soft for mine that we allowed, but some of the breaks that or a bounce of the ball that or a kick over the top, there was people chasing back, and yeah, there's always positives in to take out and lessons to take out. So it wasn't all doom and gloom, but we just need to be smarter for 80 minutes.
So what do you think the boys have to do as a group now to turn the fortunes around after a good start to the season?
Yeah, and keep at it, mate. Keep working hard and keep positive, and put your hand up and take responsibility when things aren't right or aren't going right, and when we don't do right, we put our hands up and be honest about it, and then we go and rectify it and put it right in training before we go and put it right on the park. But I'm going to say it, and I see Simon's at the back of the room there. When I came here some years ago, there was no magic wand. We happened to go on and win the Challenge Cup in the first year that I was here, but the rest of the season we weren't great. It took time. It took time to turn this place around and become one of the strong teams in the competition. We'd all love it to be able to wave a magic wand and think that it's only going to take a game or two. It doesn't happen that way. So, I would have loved to have happened already to FC. We're still going through a bit of pain, and we may well for a little time to come. We want to fix it up as quick as we can, and we want to get up into the calibre of club that Warrington have been, for a number of years. They had a little slip last year, not so long back, and they stuck strong, and he stuck strong with his coach and worked that through, and I think it's great lessons. I think there's some great lessons. Even way back then, he wasn't impatient. I ended up being here for 9 years, and it took a little bit of time to get going. Am I right there, Mr. Murray? It did. It took some time, didn't it? It wasn't an overnight thing. So I'd love it to be a whole lot quicker than what it is. But we'll get there. I keep saying it. I've got every bit of faith that we'll get there, and we'll get up there and start competing with some of these better teams.
How are you viewing the derby as your next fixture? Is it a good one for where you're at the moment?
Oh, we'd like a better prep there. That's for sure. We'd like to be coming off a confident and resounding win. But no, listen, it is what it is. We've got to dig deep, haven't we? And we've got to get together and make sure that we put out a display that, whether it's derby or not, I know people are going to get caught up on derby this week. We just need to be good for ourselves and for our club and for our badge. Hopefully that being the derby might lift us, but we've certainly got to dig deep and get better soon, no matter who we're playing. My job is to get these guys going, and we will. We'll get going, and we'll be looking back at this and grateful for how tough it has been, but how much it's improved us because we went through that tough period.
Any more questions?
I was going to say, you've been on one side of the derby. What does this week look much the same for you on this side of it as it did on the other side?
Oh, listen, my job, once again, I don't get caught up in it too much. I understand how it affects people in the city and totally respect that, and it helps build an atmosphere. It's unreal. It's as good as any atmosphere that I've been to between any two clubs. and it'll be packed out next week. There'll be red and whites all over the place, and there'll be a heap of black and whites too next week, which great atmosphere. My job is, whenever I coach, is to get the best out of my players, and that's the focus. That is the focus for this week. We need to dust ourselves off from this one and get back up there and get really positive come next week. If we're going out there and still feeling negative about what we're doing, we're going to be no-show. So I need 17 fit, positive people out there ready to turn things around for next week. So I'm on the lookout for them in training all this week.
Thanks, everybody.
Just one more, please.
Sure.
Tag spoke about intent 2 weeks ago, so did Joe Cater. How do you make it so you get your team to go out there with the same drive and same effort and the same intensity at the start of games as you get in the second half of games?
Yeah, we just got to keep practicing and look at our mindset and look at our how we prepare and how we mentally prepare and what we can do to improve that. But, you know, these boys are analysing all those things, both personally and collectively. So, you know, we'll keep analysing all that and coming up with what's best for this group and for the individuals within this group. So, we haven't got that at the moment. We need to toughen up and we need to get attitude from the start. So we'll keep examining ourselves. We're not just brushing it under the carpet and not suffering from it. We're learning, you know, some harsh lessons about some of this, and, you know, we have to change some things.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers.
Cheers.